The concept of identity is highly important in many cultures and communities within society. A specific example being Indigenous peoples. Identity is a broad concept that can be categorised into personal and political identity. According to Hogg and Abram, personal identity refers to an individual's concept of themselves, the person they are, and relations with others. Political identity is imposed on an individual and, according to Deng, is defined on the basis of race, ethnicity, religion, language, and culture. Diverse individuals will all have differing definitions of identity. Diversity is very prevalent among the Indigenous peoples and in their way of knowing, teaching, and learning. Stephen Oliver, a descendant of multiple Indigenous groups, expresses his ideas and values through the art of spoken word. As pre-service teachers, we may not strongly connect to art, looking beyond its potential as an influential learning and teaching tool. It also allows for understanding and valuing a whole person and can lead to a better understanding of cultural values such as those of Indigenous peoples. The specific art piece referred to in this presentation is Stephen's performance of Reel. Here is a snippet.
Half-caste, he said to me, that I wasn't one of those real Aborigines. I said he spent some time with them in the outback, then he looked at my skin, said I wasn't even black. I was more of a brown, he went on to explain, his voice the whole time with a certain disdain. He stared a bit longer and said, I suppose when I look at your face, I see a bit of the nose.
Misrepresentations and stereotypes throughout colonial history have greatly influenced Indigenous identity. Indigenous peoples are faced with socially constructed definitions of what it means to be Indigenous, created by those unfamiliar with the diversity within Indigenous communities. Stephen mentions being discriminated against for the colour of his skin, as he does not appear the colour that society portrays that he should be. According to Harrison and Selwood, identity is associated with a sense of belonging to country or community rather than skin colour. Stephen also states that the man supposed that he could be Aboriginal due to the shape of his nose. One line of Stephen's poem reads, "What is in my heart, the connection I feel, is something unseen but totally real." This indicates a true connection with his culture and people, and also demonstrates that although he does not appear the way society portrays, this does not mean that he is not Indigenous. As pre-service teachers, Stephen's presentation is important, explaining how easily judgments are made, and that diverse students extend beyond their appearance. The identities of Indigenous people are usually measured by colour, as throughout history this has been repeated, becoming stereotypical. These stereotypes criticise one's appearance, constructed on the basis of social conformity rather than individual perception. When a student's perspective of themselves is compromised through stereotypes, this is a stereotype threat. This not only affects how they identify, but also performance within the classroom, as there is an underlying fear of being seen as different or as challenging what is seen as socially correct. Throughout history, Indigenous peoples were classified into castes, meaning that Aboriginal people were identified by the amount of Indigenous blood within them. Identity is chosen by the individual, having stronger feelings towards particular heritages. Stephen says that whether a quarter, a 16th, an eighth, or a half, stop all that because I'm full in my heart. He also states that simply because I have other bloodlines flowing through me, this does not alter my identity. He establishes the idea that identity is not about appearance, nor percentage of Indigenous blood. He displays recognition of the importance of identity to Indigenous peoples and that identity associates with one's sense of belonging rather than the physical attributes. As pre-service teachers, we can create an inclusive environment, encouraging building identity. When a strong sense of identity is created, this establishes a sense of belonging. Through this sense of belonging, an individual will therefore have a better established self-image. According to Harrison and Selwood, a teacher's understanding of students' culture encourages identity and assists in building positive self-identity. My future heterogeneous classroom will accept those from diverse backgrounds and will put a high importance on a student's self-image. Self-image connects to self-esteem and can have a lasting impact on learners, influencing interactions with content and peers. By introducing art into the classroom, critical thinking is developed, enabling students to express cultural experiences and perspectives. The concept of identity is very broad, however, is of high importance in diverse communities and cultures, specifically to the Indigenous peoples. Stephen Oliver, an Aboriginal man, uses his art form of spoken word to discuss issues that Indigenous people have faced and continue to face. Thank you.